Okay, so today we're going to be continuing Chapter 4 and discussing the punishment and defenses for crimes. Okay, now there are many more intricate details than what I'm going to provide for you here. This is just an overview of a few of the defenses for crimes and and then a few of just a very general look at punishment of crime. Obviously, if we would ever get down deep into it, there is just a ton more information. I can't present it all to you now. But the essential question here is, what are the defenses and punishments for crime? Okay. So, the first, we have two kinds of defenses here. We have procedural defense and substantive. We saw this yesterday, so you don't have to type this out, but we're just reviewing it. Procedural has to do with a matter of law, and substantive has to do with the actions or trying to disprove what the state is trying to prove happened. Okay. The big take-home point here is that ignorance of law is never a defense. It is never going to be acceptable to say, I didn't know that was against the law. It is your responsibility as a citizen to be aware of the laws as they exist. Okay? If you don't have your book open to chapter 4, you want to do that. We are going to read the what's your verdict here in a minute. Okay? The procedural defense. This definition I do want you to know. The defense is based on problems with the way the evidence was obtained. Okay? The way the person was treated, either the way they were arrested, the way they were questioned, okay, something with the trial, or something with their imprisonment. So all of those things can fall under procedural defense. It has to do with, and in some cases, it is an error of law that has occurred that will let a person who has actually committed a crime go free. But this is why we are so specific in the way that we train our law enforcement agents and the way we train our officers of the court to make sure that these mistakes are not made. But people are human. Okay? On page 72, can I get a volunteer, please, to read what's your verdict?
Will and Zach were arrested for stealing a car. Both signed confessions at the police station. At their trial, they claimed that their right to due process had been violated. They said they had not been advised of their right to remain silent and to have a lawyer present when questioned.
Okay, thank you. Now, the question is, are these guys right? Was their due process right infringed? Matthew? No? Why? They do have the responsibility to the law. However, were they alerted to the fact that they have the right to remain silent and they have the right to an attorney? They are claiming that they were not told that. Okay, so the fact is, if they can prove that they were not given the rights, and actually, let me flip-flop that. If the state cannot prove that they did, in fact, read them the rights, then they are going to get away with it. They will get off on that crime. Even though they committed the crime, if they were, their due process was violated and they were not read the rights, they would get away with that. Okay, now, to combat this, to keep this from happening, oops. Okay, there we go. The police will often videotape the Miranda rights. Now that we have access to cameras um, and recording devices, that's what they do. They will tell you, you're being recorded. Has anybody been around when a parent has been pulled over recently? Okay. Did you pay attention when the police came up? Okay, well, when they come up, generally they will say, I'm just alerting you that we are being recorded by their dash cam. And they usually have some kind of recording device on their person. They are recording the whole incident so that if you later on say, no, they didn't tell me I was under arrest, they didn't read me my rights, they have proof, okay? Because the burden of proof is on the prosecution. And they will also have you sign. Okay, when you've been arrested, please sign this paper. It states that you've been read your Miranda rights. Do you understand this? You say yes, you sign it. Then they have that as proof. Now, if you refuse to sign it, there's not there's not much they can do except to record again the issuing of the rights. Okay, but this also could be what this little cartoon says. Anything you say can and will be used against you, and he says kittens are fluffy. Okay, so I mean it's kind of silly, but the point is, when a person has been Mirandized, and then they continue to talk and confess and say whatever they say, that will come in to court later. Okay. Um, But any mistake of law, any mistreatment of a person who's being accused of a crime, okay, if the police are threatening in any way, that all can come under this procedural defense. Yes. No. No, because they're breaking the law. They're speeding. Is that what you said? Yeah, their speeding is justified by their job. Okay, so technically it's a violation of the law, but they're officers of the law, and so they, as long as they are going to a call or responding, they don't have to withhold. And actually, our responsibility in that case is to pull over and get out of their way. They just want to get to 7-Eleven faster. Well, no, technically, no, they shouldn't do that, but it's just what it is. So, yes, it's, I guess, considered wrong, but you would have to prove that. Yes. Hmm. It's not good, but you would have to have, and you don't know what else is going on inside the car. There might be something that they need to get to that doesn't warrant a full-on lights and sirens, but maybe it's just mildly important and they need to get there faster. You don't know. Yes, sir. Ma'am. Cops and donuts? I don't know. It's just a, well, I guess the idea is that they are when they're out on patrol and they're working their long hours, they go, they're driving around, they stop at the different convenience stores and they get a cup of coffee and a donut. I don't know. You'd have to ask Mr. Brown. Okay. So, substantive defenses. These defenses are to disprove, to justify, or excuse the crime. So they're saying it may have happened, but this is why. Okay? Or they're saying it didn't happen this way, it happened this other way, this other thing. These are the other circumstances that occurred, and that's how it happened. And that's why, this person should be found not guilty. Okay? Does anybody know who these people are right here in this picture? No. You've never seen this movie? Nobody? If I tell you this is Kevin Spacey, does that tell you anything? Come on, guys. The Usual Suspects? All right, well, your assignment for the weekend is to watch The Usual Suspects. It's a good movie. You would like it. Kaiser Sose. Nobody? Really? Anyway. All right. So for the substantive defenses, you are trying to discredit the facts that the state is seeking to establish here. Okay? To say, I couldn't have done it because of this. Or, that person, here's their alibi. They were not available to have committed the crime because they were actually, in the movie, and here's the proof. They were here. Or to justify the crime, and that's what we'll get to next. Did everybody get this? Okay. Self-defense is a justification of a crime. Okay, so if you use force, okay, because it is reasonably necessary to prevent death, serious bodily harm, rape, or kidnapping. This extends to family and household. That should be two, not oh. Extenso. Okay. This extends to family and household. You may not use deadly force if non-deadly force is reasonable. Okay, what does that mean? Okay, yes, you need to meet the force with an equal force. So a gun, you could meet with a gun. But if they have a bat and you have a gun, that's different. Okay? Who, police officers? Correct. But this is everybody. This extends to everybody. So I break into Tamika's house. Okay? And I have a bottle of disinfectant cleaner. And I'm going to spray it in her eyes and then tie her up and steal all her stuff. Okay? I am violent. I am invading her home. Okay? Can she use self-defense against me? Yes. Can she shoot me? No. You can't shoot me because I don't have a gun. I'm not going to kill you with this disinfectant cleaner. Even then, it has to be equal force. Okay? You can shoot me. You can beat me up. And let's be honest, probably could. So, you must meet force with equal force. Okay? Now, if I enter her home with a gun and I threaten her and her family, she can come back at me with equal force with a gun. Okay? Now, in most states, unless you are in your own home, you need to prove that you tried to get away. You tried to flee the scene. So if you were attacked in a parking lot, you couldn't just pull out your gun and shoot them. You must show that you tried to get away from them before you use deadly force. Okay? Why is this? Okay, yeah, it opens us up to say, hey, Cajun, come over here in this parking lot. I want to talk to you. And then I'm going to shoot her, and then I'm going to say, but she was trying to kill me. Okay? You have to prove that there was an attack, that you tried to get away, okay, that there was equal, that's unless you're in your own home. Unless I enter your home, Tamika, and I threaten your family, whatever, and then you don't have to try and get away. You just can use force. Okay, but the force must be equal, except in states with make my day laws. What's a make my day law? Anybody? Did you ever hear Tyler? Yes, it is. What is it? Go ahead, make my day. Okay? He says, go ahead and try and come after me. Make my day. I would love to kill you. That's what he's saying. Okay? The Make My Day law says that. And Florida is one of the states that has this Make My Day law, which is how we ended up with this situation with, help me with his name. Trayvon, thank you. Trayvon Martin. Okay? In Florida, you do not have to flee. You do not have to do anything. If you are in danger, you are in your property, okay? You can use deadly force. Texas, you can also use deadly force. Okay? What? Yeah, in PA, we do not have a Make My Day law. Okay, you must show that you've tried to get away in Pennsylvania, but in Florida, Make My Day laws exist, and they're trying to get them changed. Because what happened, now we still don't know all the facts that went into the Trayvon Martin case. But, but what we do know is that there was a young man, 17 years old, and an adult, 31, I believe, 33. What? 32, 33. Okay? And there was an unarmed Trayvon Martin and an armed um, dude guy. He was not a police officer. He was just a neighborhood watch. He was sort of self-empowered. Um, so in the end of it, okay, Trayvon Martin was dead, gunshots, point blank, and the other guy was unharmed. Okay, essentially. Then there's all kinds of other factors that come into this, but he was not at that time. He was not held responsible because of the Make My Day laws. Now later on, they are doing some investigating, and that case is still in the works. But that's what Make My Day laws are. Okay, here's just a funny. I thought this was kind of funny. Burglary for dummies. Okay, so it's showing all the different houses and their yards. Okay, and it says this one says protected by Smith and Wesson, which is a kind of gun. This one says an NRA member, which is National Rifle Association. They're packing. Okay, protected by the Second Amendment, which is the right to bear arms. Beware of owner, this one says, and armed citizen. And this one is open. Okay, so which house, if you're a burglar in Florida, which house are you more likely to burglarize or to enter? The one without the one that's not going to have the gun. Okay. But anyway, so that's self-defense, defense of family member. If your family member or a person that is considered family, okay, any person, I guess, you can protect them using force. Okay, but again, only deadly force if it's matched. All right. And then here's just an example. This guy has a knife. She has a gun. Okay, she cannot shoot him until he aggressively. Now she's a police officer, it's a little different, but until he aggressively tries to kill her, she can't shoot him. And when she does shoot him, she needs to use non-lethal force. She needs to try and shoot him in like a limb to disable him, but not kill him. Okay, a hammer would not be equal to a gun. Okay, I don't know, a Chinese shooting star, throwing star, whatever. Whatever. Yes. They did not, but that's awful.
There is a guy in Harrisburg who got beaten in the face by two guys.
Yikes. Okay. All right. Insanity. Okay. We talked a little bit about this yesterday, but insanity is when a mental disease or defect exists, and the accused does not know the difference between right and wrong. Okay? This is a very, very, very small population, um, a very, very small margin. Okay? Because it's saying that if a person is criminally insane, therefore there is no criminal intent, which means no crime was committed. Okay? When Andrea Yates, she drowned her 6 children. Okay? She claimed insanity. So, in essence, she was saying she was unable to have formed the intent to have killed them, and therefore she didn't kill them, or there was no crime. So she should have walked free. Okay? As a result of her postpartum depression. Now, she was unable to prove it. And although postpartum depression is it is a mental defect, a mental disorder, okay? Postpartum means after birth. It is a kind of depression that affects women after they've given birth. And having done it 4 times, I'm here to tell you, your mind is not normal after birth. Okay? It's not. Your hormones, you're making hormones for 2 people, and then one exits stage left, and all of a sudden you're left with an extra bunch of hormones. You're nutty. But there is an expectation that you would receive help. Yes.
So, like, if she claimed,
Yes.
okay, but if someone was, like, extremely insane, like, they wouldn't claim, like, they just would be, like, blissfully unaware. Like, they would say that they're normal, and
What I will say is this: I studied this case because it kind of haunted me, and so I saw several interviews with her. If you watch her in an interview, she will tell you about her children very lovingly, very caringly, and she will tell you that they're in a better place and that what she did was right because this world is so terrible. She took them away from this world and sent them to a place where they will not be influenced by the terrible things going on in our society. But she will also describe for you in just graphic detail how she, one by one by one by one, killed each one of her children. She drowned them. What? She drowned them. She started with the oldest one, working her way down. She took out the bath mat so they couldn't get traction. It was very, very graphic. It was very upsetting. Um, but she will do it very calmly, which leads you to believe that either she is the best actress in the world, or maybe she is really, truly, there's a disconnect in her mental ability to understand what she's done and the consequences of it.
if she really loves the children, like, drowning, no matter how you do it, it's a horrible way to die.
But you're thinking in a rational plane. You're thinking with rational thoughts. She's not in that place. At least that's not what she's claiming. She's unable to process that in a rational way, in a normal way. Okay, so her connections are not there, which is why she was not found. She was not found not guilty. She was found guilty, um, but um, mentally ill. Okay, so she was placed in a treatment center. And if at any point she is found to be mentally stable, she would be then sentenced to prison to serve the rest of her term. Okay? Um, so again, it is very, very difficult to prove. Okay, you can't just commit a crime and then say, oh, but I was crazy, I didn't know. Okay, it is not an easy thing. This is a picture of Jared Lautner. Do you know who he was? He was the one who did this shooting of Representative Gabby Giffords. Um, it was at the supermarket. He went into the supermarket and he shot, I should know the facts, 8 people. Okay, but one of them, he shot Gabby Giffords in the head. Um, this is his mugshot taken immediately after he was arrested at the scene. Okay? He does not look mentally stable. Now, you can't judge a book by its cover. However, you might learn something from the dust jacket. Okay, you're looking at him. He doesn't look like he's playing with a full deck. So he is using the insanity defense. Okay. All right. Immunity. This is the last one we're going to discuss. Immunity is freedom from prosecution even when a person has committed a crime. Okay? It's granted in exchange for the agreement to testify about other people's criminal conduct. Do you know what this movie is? Please. Come on, guys. You are culturally void. Yes. No. Close. Goodfellas. Huh? But I sure am a pain. It is Goodfellas. The movie is Goodfellas. Okay? It is a gangster movie. It's talking about the mafia and the mob, that kind of thing. What's that movie called? Goodfellas. Goodfellas. It's a great movie. It is rated R. It is incredibly violent. But Goodfellas. But it's one of my favorite movies. But anyway, it's all about the mafia, the mob. But in this movie, okay, and it is based on a true story. Goodfellas is based on a true story. The one character ends up testifying against the other characters, and therefore he is given immunity. So he is, even though he did all these horrible things, he is allowed to live out the rest of his days.
Mr. Heath, please call 7441. Mr. Heath, please call 7441.
Good luck finding that guy. All right. So even though he's done all these terrible things, he's granted immunity and he is allowed to live out the rest of his days. Now, in his case, he's in the witness protection program. Okay, so he had to change his identity. He had to change, everything about himself so that the mafia didn't come after him and kill him. But that's immunity. Sometimes we'll have immunity among people. So let's say Marcus and Cajun and Tyler, they commit a crime together. And then Marcus agrees to testify in exchange for immunity. He'll tell, everybody, because it was all Cajun's idea. And she's really the worst one. She's the one that's, the mastermind, the criminal that should be behind bars. Marcus was just an innocent guy. So the cops know that. They know he's a good kid. So they let Marcus testify against Cajun and Tyler. Marcus will get immunity. He won't have to serve any jail time. So he did it, but he's not going to serve jail time and he'll testify against them. That's immunity. Okay, it's technically a defense. Got it? Okay, last slide. Contempt of court. This is an action that hinders the administration of justice. Okay? The judge is who can hold you in contempt of court. So if you are doing something that causes a disruption of the trial, okay? If you refuse to testify or if you are having an outbreak or an outburst in the middle of court, okay? The judge can say you are being held in contempt of court. If you disobey his orders, he can say you are being held in contempt of court. This little scenario here is kind of goofy, but the judge is wearing a Hawaiian shirt and the court officer is wearing a Hawaiian shirt. And he says, get out of my court. Don't come back until you find appropriate Friday attire. He wants them all to be wearing Hawaiian. No, I don't know if he could do that. But I'll tell you what, when we used to go on a field trip when I worked in Middletown. We used to go to the courthouse. And we were in there one time, and the judge said, I will not hear your plea. It was DUI court. And so DUI court goes through, you have spent now, whoever is, they've spent maybe 24, 48 hours in jail, and then they appear in court. DUI means driving under the influence. So then they appear in court, and the judge hears their plea. They either plead guilty or not guilty, and then he either gives them a court date or he has them pay their fines, whatever. Um, yes. Yeah. I'm going to try and have that field trip for us as well. I'm going to try. We'll see what happens. Um, so the uh, the judge, as the people are standing there, he said he would not hear the plea of this one young man because he was wearing cut off shorts and a dirty T-shirt and he looked like trash. And he said, no, get out of my court. Come back wearing a suit. Come back wearing, dress clothes. Come back looking like a person who means business. So he could do that. So the judge does have all power in his courtroom. Okay, but contempt of court is it's punishable by imprisonment and fines. Um, there was a reporter who was found in contempt of court because she would not give up her source. She would not say where she had found the information that she had. Okay, so she was held in contempt of court. She was placed in jail, and she was held in jail for 3 months. Okay, until finally she never did give it up. Finally, the case they had no choice but to drop the case. Okay, they could not continue to prosecute because they didn't have enough evidence, so they had to drop the case. But those 3 months she was held in jail. That was her crime, was contempt of court. Yes. Yeah, but not for contempt of court. She was put in jail for insider trading, which was a crime that she committed. Okay. Um, any questions about what we've covered here? Okay. Your assignment for the rest of this period is to, on page 76, complete the your legal vocabulary and the review legal concepts. Okay, so that's 1 through 14. Bless you. And then I want you to do 18, 19, and 20. Okay? Bless you. For 1 through 14, you're just giving me question and answer. Okay? Um, yeah, you're typing the definition, but yeah, you can put the A. What? You can, but you only get half credit. Okay? Um, and your review, um, we will review for the test um, first period tomorrow, and then test will be period 2 and 3. Okay? So test is tomorrow. Chapter 4 test tomorrow. Yes, ma'am. Okay, the assignment, page 76 and 77, 1 to 14, and page 77, 18 to 20. You can do answers only, print when finished, and submit to the Dropbox, both printed and hard copy submission.